Okay, so how do you figure out your purpose? Okay, this is always something that people think of, and I could only say what I think. Your purpose in life is to live your life and be happy with the life that you live. Your purpose is not to take care of someone else. Your purpose is to use your God-given gifts to the best of your ability and do what you love to do and make a difference. Someone created the light bulb, and this is why I have a light here shining on my beautiful face. Someone created this phone that I'm using to record this video. Someone created these yummy Skittles that I'm munching on. Creativity, that is what we're good at. We are good at creating, whether it's a story. Maybe your purpose is to create beautiful children that grow up to be beautiful human beings. I mean, just think of Will Smith's mom. I don't know, that's just what came to my head. Or who else do I know? That Taylor Swift's mom. I'm so proud of her. A billionaire off of singing songs of her life, and that is a perfect example. Taylor Swift. I literally watched a reel of her the other day where she was like, "Get out of my house." What? She said, "Get out of my house." No, she said, "Shut up in my house that I paid for writing songs about my life." And I was like, because that's literally why she's a billionaire right now. And money, yes, you don't have to suffer to get money. You just have to use what you have. Me. Okay, so let me talk about me as an example. Growing up, I used to read books like Goosebumps, Nancy Drew. I think I finished one Nancy Drew book, and like sometimes I would just read some, but because I was getting it from the library, I would always have to bring it back at a certain time, and I could never finish reading my books because like I had such a huge family where it's like I had to be watching after my like younger brothers. My cousins would come around, so I never really got sometimes the time that I wanted to just be the fuck alone, which is why I'm so happy that I'm an adult now and I could just like do what I want to do. But I used to like writing. Sometimes I used to like write songs. Never sang them. I used to love performing by myself, Celine Dion and Whitney Houston, because those are the CDs that like my mom had. Backstreet Boys. I used to just be singing my heart out. I remember when I just started university, there was this guy that liked me, and he took me to this place, and then we met this waitress. She was like white with blonde hair, and then he asked her if she's like an actress. I don't really know why these things pop back up in my head, but then she said she was like studying to be an actress, and I hope she's an actress now. Like, she was so pretty. And I remember there was one time, like, growing up when I used to be doing these performances by myself, I wanted to be an actor. I mean, who doesn't? Now I feel like the anxiety, but I mean, if one day I get to hit screen, big up me, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so as an adult now, I like to write stories on the medium. I've always been told by like professors, teachers here in Canada that I wrote really good papers. I remember I had a chemistry teacher and I got the highest mark. Mr. Ritchie, I think is his name. And he told me, but it went to my head. It's never. And I remember even reading a story. I think it was a story from like an African story, where it's like it's not good to swell people's heads, because when you tell people that, oh, you're so good all the time, sometimes, not everyone, sometimes it gets to their heads, so they feel like they don't need to work as hard. And I think that's what happened to me. But even now, like, I still write stories. Like, I could think up a whole story in my head. Like, sometimes I think about like Black Mirror, because I'm like, how could I put the short stories that I think of in my head in sequence to create like a beautiful story that people are gonna like to look at. Um, so I do very much know that this is my gift and I need to just build on that. But sometimes life happens where like you can't do these things. But I still write my stories. I'm hoping to one day, work with people where I can get to like produce my work. So these are things that I like to do. I love a story. I'm always on here telling you guys stuff and then giving you an example with a story, whether it be that of me seeing it from a movie, hearing it from a person. Every time I meet someone new, I'm like, tell me a story. I like a story. Not for me to, it's not for me to like tell anyone, but sometimes stories are good. Stories are good because you learn from other people. You learn from other people's mistakes, you know what I mean? Or just like a good story. Even the other day, my mom was telling me a story of something that happened, one of her co-workers that passed away, and I imagine it in my head. And I don't know, but because of my imagination of what she told me, I was able to like really feel how she felt. You know what I mean? It's not everybody, I think, that could do that. There was one time I was hanging out with like my friends who are from India, and then one of them was like, he had like a scar, and I was like, how did that happen? And he told me that he fell. So I'm like, okay. I was like, how did you fall? He said he was drunk and he fell, and I just started dying. I was just laughing. And he's like, you don't care about me, Enzi. I was like, it's not I don't care about you. It's because of how I imagined it in my head. That's why I was just so laughing so fucking hard. And then like my other friend understood that because he said he's like, she's imagining it. And then I was just dying, crying, laughing. It's not that I didn't care that he was hurt, obviously. Like if I was there in the moment, I would be like, oh my God, like I wouldn't be laughing. But it's because of how he said it. He was drunk and he fell, and I imagined it. And obviously he's here with me at the time. He wasn't hurt. It was okay for me to laugh at it. So yeah, I just love my imagination, and I just want to be able to put it to work on paper and on screen so other people can appreciate it too, and I don't just live in my head, is basically what I'm trying to say. So sometimes it's like the things that you grew up liking to do. I used to love being by myself growing up, like going for walks by myself, sometimes playing cricket with my brothers. I had a beautiful childhood in Grenada, which is where my mother is from, and beautiful, like the most beautiful childhood. Like honestly, like when I think of my childhood, I loved that God blessed me that I was born in Canada, but I didn't grow up here. And because I grew up there, like that has a lot to do with who I am today as a person, and I appreciate that. So there are ways to figure out what your gifts are, and to work on them and creating so that other people can appreciate it too. So whatever that is for you, when you love something, I know these days everyone's trying to make more money than the other person. As for me, I love good things. I have patience, and I just plan on doing my best to do the things that I love and to one day be able to share it with people. So how you figure out what your purpose is to live life in love, to love, to be amazing, to not be miserable, to figure out what you like to do and do that. Always tap into your childhood. Not everyone has a good childhood, and I know that. But there's always something that you can think of that brought you joy when you were a child. Everybody has that, and sometimes it just starts from there. So I hope that helps, and thank you for listening.